Chapter 4 of the Boxcar Children. Henry has two surprises. Jessie whispered, "Keep still." The three children did not say a word. They sat quietly in the boxcar, looking at the bushes. "I wonder if it's a bear," thought Benny. Soon something came out, but it wasn't a bear. It was a dog, which hopped along on three legs, crying softly and holding a front paw. "It's all right," said Jessie. "It's only a dog, but I think he's hurt." The dog looked up and saw the children, and then wagged his tail. "Poor dog," said Jessie. "Are you lost? Come over here and let me look at your paw." The dog hopped over to the boxcar, and the children got out. Jessie looked at the paw and said, "Oh dear, you poor dog. There is a big thorn in your foot." The dog stopped crying and looked at Jessie. "Good dog," said Jessie. "I can help you, but it might hurt." The dog looked up at Jessie and wagged his tail again. "Violet," ordered Jessie, "please wet my handkerchief in the brook." Jessie sat down on the stump and took the dog on her lap. She patted him and gave him a little piece of bread. Then she began to pull out the thorn. It was a long thorn, but the dog did not make any noise. Jessie pulled and pulled, and at last the thorn came out. Violet had a wet handkerchief ready. Jessie put it around the dog's paw, and he looked up at her and wagged his tail a little. "He wants to say thank you, Jessie," cried Violet. "He is a good dog not to try." "Yes, he is," agreed Jessie. "Now I better hold him for a while so that he will lie down and rest his leg." "We can surprise Henry," remarked Benny. "Now we have a dog." "So we can," said Jessie, "but that was not my surprise. I was going to get a lot of blueberries for supper." "Can't we look for blueberries while you hold the dog?" asked Violet. "Yes, we can," said Jessie. "Look over there by the big tree." Benny and Violet ran over to look. "Oh, Jessie," cried Benny, "did you ever see so many blueberries? I guessed 5 blueberries. No, I guessed 10 blueberries." Jessie laughed. "I guess there are more than 5 or 10, Benny. Get a clean towel and pick them into it." For a while, Jessie watched as Benny and Violet picked the blueberries. "Most of Benny's blueberries are going in his mouth," she thought with a laugh, "but maybe that's just as well. He won't get as hungry waiting for Henry to come back with the milk." She carried the dog over to the children and sat down beside them, and the dog was on her lap. With her help, the towel was soon full of blueberries. "I wish we had some dishes," said Jessie. "Then we could have some blueberries and milk." "Never mind," said Violet. "When Henry comes, we can eat some blueberries and take a drink of milk." When Henry came, he had some heavy bundles. He had 4 bottles of milk in a bag, a loaf of brown bread, and also some fine yellow cheese. He looked at the dog. "Where did you get that fine dog?" he cried. "He came to us," said Benny. "He is a surprise for you." Henry went over to the dog, who wagged his tail. Henry patted him and said, "He ought to be a good watchdog. Why is that handkerchief on his foot?" "He had a big thorn in his foot," answered Violet, and Jessie took it out and put on the handkerchief. It hurt him, but he did not cry or growl. "His name is Watch," remarked Benny. "Oh, is it?" asked Jessie, laughing. "Watch is a good name for a watchdog." "Did you bring some milk?" asked Benny, looking hungrily at the bottles. "I should say I did," replied Henry. 4 bottles. "Poor old Benny," said Jessie. "We'll have some dinner now, or is it supper?" "It must be supper," said Henry, "for soon we'll have to go to bed." "Tomorrow we'll eat 3 times," said Jessie. Now Jessie liked to have things in order, so she put the laundry bag on some pine needles for a tablecloth. Then she cut the loaf of brown bread into 5 big pieces. The cheese was cut into 4. "Dogs don't like cheese," remarked Benny. The poor little boy was glad too, because he was very hungry. Violet put the 4 bottles of milk on the table, and Jessie put some blueberries and cheese at each plate. "Blueberries!" cried Henry. "Jessie, you had 2 surprises for me." "I'm sorry we haven't any cups," said Jessie. "We'll have to drink out of the bottles. Now all come and sit down." So supper began. "Look, Benny," said Henry, "you take some blueberries, and then eat some brown bread, and then some cheese, and take a drink of milk." "It's good," said Benny. He began to put more blueberries into his mouth. The dog had come to supper too. Jessie gave him bread as he lay on the ground beside her, and he drank milk out of her hand. When supper was over, there was some milk left in each bottle. "We'll have the rest of the milk for breakfast," said Jessie. "Tonight we are going to sleep on beds. Let's get some pine needles now." Soon the children each had a big pile. Henry jumped into the boxcar, and Jessie gave him the pine needles. He made 4 beds at the one end of the car. "This side is the bedroom," said Jessie. "What will the other side be?" asked Benny. "The other side?" asked Jessie. "Let me think. I guess it's the sitting room, and maybe some of the time it will be the kitchen." Then she said, "Come now, come and get washed." She took the cake of soap and went down to the brook. "That will be very fun, Benny," said Violet. "We'll splash our paws in the brook just like little Brown Bear does." She knew that Benny did not like to be washed. The children were all very hot, and so they were glad to be splashed in the cold water. Benny put cold water and soap on his face with the others and dried his hands on the towel. We'll have a line to dry the towels on, said Jessie. So she took a string out of the laundry bag and tied the end of it to a tray. The other end of the string she tied to the boxcar. This made a good clothesline. When she had washed one towel and Violet had washed the other one, they hung both the towels on the clothesline. It looks like a home, said Henry. See the washing? He laughed. Jessie was thinking, we ought to get some water to drink before we go to bed. But what shall we put it in? Let's put all the milk into 2 bottles, said Henry, and then we can fill the other 2 with water. Good idea, said Jessie. You go alone to the fountain, Henry. You can hide if anyone comes along. Henry went out very quietly and soon came back with 2 bottles full of cold water. Benny drank a little, but he was almost asleep. The other children helped him into the boxcar. Then they all climbed in, Jessie carrying the dog. He lay at once right beside her. It's so hot we'll have to leave the door open, said Henry. Soon they were fast asleep, dog and all. The moon came up, but they did not see it. This was the first time in 4 days that they could go to sleep at night, as children should. And that's the end of the chapter. And next we're going to read chapter 5, which is The Explorers Find Treasure. I hope you guys are enjoying the book as much as I am. Bye.